In unit number 18, we go to page 385 and we go down underneath the graph. The state may ask you questions about change of insurers and loss of coverage. Highlight the whole entire bottom of this page. There might be one or two state exam questions here. It says, coinsurance and deductible carryover. When a group health insurance policy is replaced by another plan, the new insurer will allow the coinsurance and the deductibles paid under the old plan to count toward the new plan requirements. This eases the transition to a new plan for covered employees. So what that means is this. My husband, where he works at, the company was switched out from the government from one company to another. And in the middle of the year, that change happened. Well, earlier in the year, my husband had gone to see the doctor a few times and we had a hospital stay, and we had already met our deductible and the coinsurance for that year. But then the plan was switched. Well, the new company honored our deductible and the coinsurance that we already paid in that year to the new plan. And again, that eases the transition from one company to another with our insurance plans. On the bottom of page 385, we go into no loss, no gain. Highlight all of this. Many states have what's called a no loss, no gain statute that require benefits for, underline, ongoing disability. That's your key track word. Claims that started under an old plan to continue without imposing the new plan's eligibility requirements. On page 386, between the two graphs, we go into the events that terminate coverage. Remember, not every loss is a covered loss under the plan. Make sure you understand that we are in the exclusions part of the policy, and go down and highlight that last bullet where it says a non-disabled dependent child reaches age 26. Again, underline 26, you've seen this before. On page 387, we go into the extension of benefits. Please make yourself a note, there are possibly up to 7 state exam questions on this page. On top of page 387, highlight the extension of benefits, highlight that first sentence. Extension of benefit requires by state laws that benefits paid by an in-force policy continue. Underline the word continue. That is your key track word. After the policy is terminated, some states require an extension of benefits to a totally disabled member at the time the policy's discontinuance. The continuation of benefits, we are going into COBRA. Your key track word for COBRA is the words to continue. You know exactly what you're looking for. Let's read this. The Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, known as COBRA, is a federal law that requires, underline this, employers with 20 or more employees. That is a state exam question and answer. Underline that, put an asterisk here. To allow former employees and their dependents to continue. Underline the words continue. The benefits provided by the employer's group health insurance plan. Coverage may be, highlight, this is another state exam question, must be continued for at least 18 to 36 months. Employees or dependents must pay the entire premium for the coverage. COBRA specifies the rates, coverage, qualifying events, qualifying beneficiaries, notification procedures, and the time of payment requirements for the continued insurance. So again, you know exactly what you're looking for. Your key track word is the words to continue, and in COBRA is to help us to continue the benefits, but now we have to pay for them all by ourselves, and we have coverage up to 18 to 36 months, depending on what's going on. Let's keep reading. Now, let's go down to qualifying events. A qualifying event occurs when an employee, spouse, or dependent child loses coverage under the group insurance contract. Qualifying events include death of a covered employee, termination of a covered employee except for gross misconduct, reduction of work hours for a covered employee, Medicare eligibility for a covered employee, divorce or legal separation of a covered employee from the covered employee's spouse, termination of a child's dependent status, and bankruptcy of the employer. Qualified beneficiary. A qualified beneficiary is any individual covered under the employer-maintained group health plan on the day before the qualifying event. This usually includes covered employees, spouse of the covered employees. Highlight everything in this next bullet. This has been on every state exam I've taken. Put an asterisk here. Dependent children of covered employees, including children born or adopted during the first 18 months of a benefit continuation period. Underline 18 months of a benefit continuation period. Put an asterisk here. Notification statements. The state will ask you this. Highlight the next sentence. Put an asterisk here. Employers must provide notification statements to the individuals eligible for COBRA continuation within 14 days. Underline 14 days. Put an asterisk here. The notification must be provided when a plan becomes subject to COBRA, an employee is covered by the plan subject to COBRA, and a qualifying event occurs. Highlight the rest of this page. The next two paragraphs have state exam questions and answers. Highlight. The company must notify new employees of their rights under COBRA when they are informed of other employee benefits. Notification of the employee's spouse or other dependents must be made in writing and sent to state exam question and answer. Underline the last known address of the spouse or dependent. Put an asterisk here. And the option to elect continuation expires 60 days. Underline 60 days. That is another state exam question and answer. On page 388 at the very top, we talk about the duration of coverage. The state will ask you questions here. Highlight that first paragraph. The maximum period of coverage continuation, again, underline the word continuation, for termination of employment or a reduction in hours of employment is 18 months. Underline 18 months. That's a state exam question and answer. The next sentence is another state exam question and answer. For all other types of qualifying events, the maximum period of coverage of continuation is 36 months. Again, underline continuation of 36 months. Put an asterisk here. Now, let's go underneath those four bullets and read the next two sentences. Highlight both of these sentences. It says, the coverage must be the same as the insured had while employed. The premiums must also be the same, except now the terminated employee must pay the entire premium, including any portion previously paid by the employer. The termination individual may have to pay the additional amount each month, not exceeding 2% of the premium to cover the employer's administrative expenses. Highlight that standalone sentence. Put an asterisk here. Continuation applies only to health benefits under COBRA. Again, underline the word continuation, underline the word COBRA. We go into the OBRA, the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1989. Highlight this whole paragraph. There are one or two state exam questions here. Highlight. OBRA extended the minimum COBRA continuation of coverage period to, underline, 29 months for qualified beneficiaries disabled. That's your key track word. Disabled, 29 months. At the time of termination, the disability must meet Social Security's definition of disability. Remember, that's any occupation. Write that down in your book. That's any occupation. The plan can charge qualified beneficiaries an increased premium up to, underline, 150%. That's another state exam question and answer I've seen. Of the group premium during the 11th month disability extension from months 19 to 29 months. The state may ask you multiple questions in that paragraph. On page 389, inside the graph, highlight federal law if you have 20 or more employees. That's a state exam question and answer. The next bullet, highlight, underline 18 to 36 months of continued coverage. That's COBRA. To the right of your graph, highlight COBRA. First bullet, that's a federal law. Second bullet, highlight employs 20 or more employees. Go down to the fifth bullet, extends for coverage for 18 months. Skip two more bullets, go down to the next. Highlight, extends coverage for 36 months for dependents who no longer qualified. And go all the way down to the bottom. Highlight the last two bullets under OBRA and highlight 29 months if disabled at the time of termination. All possible state exam questions and answers.